Yo, 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 what's going on? It's your man, the struggle streamer king, your man Kris B, aka BUZ. Oh, it's a chilly. If you can't tell, it's a chilly, just chilly in Virginia right now. Very chilly. I don't know why. It's April. It's supposed to be over. Winter is supposed to be over, y'all. But I had to come talk to y'all tonight about certain topics I see in the media today. You know, before y'all tugging y'all own cloth and patting your own back, might I say, and clapping and cheering and saying, ain't no way Biden gonna beat Trump. Before y'all say that, y'all better check yourselves. For real, for real. Trump know what he up against. He know what he up against. You know what I'm saying? And right now, the Democrats can't fool the people on the issues. So we already know what it's set up for. It's set up for the steal. Now, like I said before on previous videos, that in 2020, I've been a Trump supporter for a long time, but in 2020, I was very overconfident. Very, 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 very overconfident. I was very overconfident, y'all, on Trump's ability to win that election. I thought, what America was going through alone at the time, you know, a great economy, jobs, opportunities, money flowing all around for the country. I thought it was no way that Joe Biden would win. I'm telling you, I thought it was no way that Joe Biden could win. I was on Twitter. I talked about that before. I had a big account. I ain't gonna say a big, like a huge. I am millions, but I had over 11,000 followers. And my page was one of the ones that got suspended with the Twitter purge. That's why I'm rock with Elon Musk right now, because I made another page and got up in the thousands, and that page got deleted. And I wasn't cussing nobody out or talking crazy or doing anything but supporting Trump. That's all I was doing. I'm telling you, that's all I was doing. And I gained a following. And my page before that was on Twitter was more sports, music, everything. I had my original Twitter page was from 2011, and I did that just about music, but it grew into something different, and I gained a following like no other for me, so for my small town. But I had a huge following on Twitter, and I was one of the ones that got purged in the Twitter purge. And I wasn't talking crazy. I promise to God, I promise you that I was not talking crazy. I really wasn't. But certain people pressured these social media companies to silence some voices that were louder than others. And I had some viral tweets. Matter of fact, it ain't happen overnight. Trust me. You know what I'm saying? That's why I'm trying to do my thing on YouTube. You know what I'm saying? To make it happen. Basically, sort of the similar journey, but with a little video instead of just on tweets. You know what I'm saying? But at that time in 2020, where a lot of voices were being heard, mine was one of the ones that was silenced. Not once, but twice. One by Jack Dorsey when he's still on Twitter, and another by Elon Musk. For whatever reason, I don't know. When I looked, they said, yeah, you're not getting your Twitter back. Spend it, you ain't never getting it back. That happened to me twice, just because I support Trump. I don't know if I retweet something that somebody that favors Trump said or whatever, but I know what happened back in the 2020. It was all of that fake January 6th stuff that was going on. You know, to where, man, it was a lot of crazy stuff going on in 2020. And I knew something was up, not at the beginning, but right when we was getting into the thick of things. And unless you know the swamp and the deep state is real. But I wanted to come to y'all tonight to share a video I think y'all would very seriously enjoy. If you think that 2020 election was stolen in front of God and country like I do, and many Americans believe that to be true, say what you want to say. I don't care. It was like crazy stuff going on. Unprecedented stuff that was going on election night. Basically, they stopped the voting. Trump was kicking Biden's butt. They even admitted, oh, if we was voting on one day, that's why today is so brilliant. Trump is definitely playing chess with these fools, and they don't even know it. I ain't gonna give away the game, Trump. I'm gonna let you get back in office and do your thing. But these people, the swamp, aka deep state, aka everybody that's those who are not named, came against Trump. And he has said that in one of his campaigns before he had left office, you know, on the campaign trail. They were saying that in 2020, that some very rich people don't like me. So you may not see me for a while. I forget if he was in Pennsylvania. He might have been in Pennsylvania when he said that. It's ironic that he had a campaign rally in Pennsylvania tonight. But one of his speeches where he talked about what was coming lets you know that these people play for keeps. They play for keeps. You and I can't imagine the things that went on in 2020. But I came to you tonight to share a little video that I think to be true. Y'all can discredit this video or whatever, but I think to be true. Here we go.
Elections and other political processes are pivotal to the quality of a country's governance. Elections can either greatly advance or set back a country's long-term democratic development, as well as of U.S. foreign policy priorities. The most fundamental principle defining credible elections is that they must reflect the free expression of the will of the people. To achieve this, elections should be transparent, inclusive, and trusted by voters and those elected. There have been several questionable elections. In 1876, Republican Rutherford B. Hayes won against Democrat Samuel J. Tilden in an election marred by voter fraud and violence. But the 2020 election took it to a new level. Many things occurred that had never happened before, and many of them were illegal under the various state and U.S. federal voting laws. And we will examine the 2020 election and see just what the liberal media and weak Republicans were afraid of exposing. For 4 years, the liberal woke Marxist media and their handlers have tried to control the messages and suppress dissenting views that attack their preordained narrative. And in response to those who challenge their narrative, the Marxists have resorted to using lawfare, such as frivolous lawsuits, civil suits, and criminal racketeering charges, which have escalated to silence and potentially bankrupt those who dare to question election integrity. Now it is our turn. Why was there so much controversy surrounding the 2020 election? Are the claims of voter fraud credible? If so, how widespread was it? Who was involved? How deep is the corruption within the deep state? Hello, I'm Colin Heaton, military veteran, historian, author, and welcome to this episode of Forgotten History.
Sorry, y'all.
If we don't have one
Now, if you think that Joe Biden got more votes than our first black president, I question you. You know what I'm saying? Obama is still loved to this day in the Democrat Party. So ain't no way that sleepy, crooked Joe Biden got more votes than Obama. How did they do it? I don't know. But I know that they had to take that election because Democrats at the whole campaign on 2020 was screaming, if Trump gets another 4 more years, it'll be a fundamental change to our country. And I tend to agree they was right. But it was in a good way for the people. But a lot of people wanted them gone because they wanted the status quo. Now, Joe Biden, the truth of the thing is, when he was out on the campaign trail, for real, he was getting confronted at everything, at every event that he was at. So much so, the word they had to cut all that shit out. They said, no. Everything was orchestrated. Everything was organized. Because, you know what I'm saying? Because when the people got in Joe Biden's face, he would lash out too, but it would sound crazy. He thought it was being like Trump. You know what I'm saying? Because he thought, ooh, Trump was brash. He said what he wanted to say. But the truth of the matter is, he was just saying what was real. Joe Biden was fake, so it didn't come off authentic, and he was just pissing voters off. A lot of people need to go back and look at the footage and the reporting and the filming of the Democratic primaries of 2020. Joe Biden was not supposed to win them primaries. I don't know what decision was made, but I guess it was made, and all the other ones bowed out, and they got rid of Tulsi Gabbard. And her crime is she still voted for Biden in 2020. When she said that, I was like, whoa, hold up. That's why, I thought initially, I thought that might be a good idea, a Tulsi Gabbard and Trump ticket, because She was banished from the Democrat Party. The Democrat Party hates Trump. She knows the ins and outs of the Democrat Party. So maybe she would be a good thing, but at the end of the day, she could be a Trojan horse because he did vote for Biden at the end of the day. But back to voter fraud. I'm sorry, I was ranting. Why do people think that this stuff is not real? It can definitely be real. And a lot of people think, I know. I never seen no stuff that I seen on that election night that I seen in 2020. What was going on? They stopped the votes. I'm gonna just say that in particular. They stopped voting. Say, yes, we're coming back tomorrow. Check back with us mañana. Mañana. For my peoples in Espanol. Mañana. They said, come back tomorrow. Okay, for those of y'all that don't know, before 2020, they said the going thing in politics was if a presidential candidate wins Ohio and Florida, that means you're going to be the president. And on that night, he did that easily. I think that sent them into a panic mode. And this is what you get.
In 2020, Joe Biden said, "We've built the most extensive voter fraud organization in history." The liberal media said it was a joke. Others say a Freudian slip. But many believe that he was confident in the plan the Democrats had put in place to steal the presidential election. We will let you decide. Due to the COVID-19 restrictions imposed upon businesses, churches, schools, and even private residences by various governors, it was decided that ballot drop boxes and mail-in ballots were the way to go. These methods were fraught with potential voting fraud, as many states did not require voter identification or even signature verification. In fact, radical progressive liberals do not want voter ID, and they openly say so, calling requiring IDs racist. But common sense proves that anyone who does not want legal voter ID and verification wants fraud, just as they support Biden opening our border to bring illegal aliens into the country, hoping to eventually make them citizens and legal Democrat voters. Also, expect a lot of these illegals and multiple voting Americans, even the dead, to vote in the next election. Trump and others saw it coming in 2020. Starting in spring 2020, Trump began to sow doubts about the election, claiming that the election would be rigged in favor of Democrats and that the expected widespread use of mail balloting would produce massive election fraud. He was quite accurate, as research has recently proved. Therefore, in July of 2020, Trump considered delaying the election, but in August, the House of Representatives voted for a $25 billion grant to the U.S. Postal Service for the expected increase in mail-in voting. Trump blocked that funding, saying he wanted to prevent any increase in voting by mail. According to the mainstream media, Trump repeatedly refused to say whether he would accept the results of the election.
And that's another thing, real quick. Okay, if we broke and we in debt and we in trillions of dollars in debt, okay, why you approve a thing real quick for $25 billion? Come on, man. You know the fix was that.
The election and commit to a peaceful transition of power if he lost. What the media failed to also state was that Hillary Clinton refused to.
And that's another thing too. That's the point when I knew they were back then. They was gonna steal it. Now, I was like I was telling y'all at the beginning of the video that I was real overconfident. I was like, yo, ain't no way Democrats can win in 2020. But when I heard them say, will Donald Trump accept the results of the 2020 election? I said re-election. Election. I was like, hold up. They gonna steal it from him. And damn, I was right.
To accept the results of the 2016 election, and she was not alone. Trump was concerned that certain states and certain blue districts, even in red states, were changing their election laws without going through their state legislatures. And were also doing very early voting by mail without any oversight. Additionally, Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg paid out approximately $400 million to install ballot drop boxes in various unsecured.
$400 million. Remember when I goes back to what I said about some very rich people don't like me.
Locations, but these were not all monitored. These drop boxes were a major point of contention, but the liberal explanation was not persuasive. Newsweek stated, many entities have debunked the notion of widespread fraud, including an Associated Press investigation last year that found only 475 potential instances of cheating. Also, a New York Times project where reporters spoke to election officials in every state concluded last year that there was no evidence that fraud played a role in the outcome of the presidential race. A USA Today investigation in late 2020 concluded accusations of wrongdoing were unfounded or overblown. The Brennan Center for Justice noted that the nation's top intelligence and law enforcement agencies called the 2020 election secure, and the list goes on. That laughable statement by Newsweek flies in the face of reality. In producer Dinesh D'Souza's film,
like I said, laughable. Now they came out and said, but initially before they could get any of the federal agencies or law enforcement to try to verify this farce, they initially got the fake news. All of them came together and said, "Oh no, it's no election fraud, no evidence of that, none whatsoever." And they proceeded to go forward with some wicked tactics to try to steal that 2020 election.
2,000 Mules. He provides conclusive proof of voter fraud that benefited Democrats in Arizona, Georgia, Michigan, Wisconsin, New York, and Pennsylvania, all being highly contested states where the Democrats had to cheat to guarantee a win. And here's how they did it. In Pennsylvania, the Democrat governor Tom Wolf and his attorney general Josh Shapiro, another liberal, changed that state's voting laws by executive order, allowing mail-in voting and very early voting.
See, all this was going on all over the country, all over the place, especially in the battleground states, especially in these battleground states. I said slates or state. You know, I'm sorry, it's late night. I'm sorry, y'all. In these battleground states that will decide on an election. So they're doing this in all the battleground states. That lets you know if they take out the corruption, they take out the fraud, Trump wins easily. But they have the plans.
Without going through the required state legislature, violating both Pennsylvania and federal election laws.
Hey, go. Come on.
The state allowed not only unregulated drop boxes, but also mail-in ballots without a required date on the return envelope, and they had to be counted. There was no voter ID or signature verification.
They had to be counted. What type of crazy stuff is that? Come on. Any American with common sense can see right through that, right? But they were doing that right in front of our face in God and country. To have the balls and the galls and the middle gall for all of y'all to do that. You have power. There's no other reason that you would do that. Right?
Verification required. More than 2.5 million Pennsylvanians voted by mail during 2020's presidential election, most of them Democrats, out of 6.9 million total votes. Some voted multiple times. In Pennsylvania, a statistical analysis conducted by the Trump campaign that matched voter rolls to public obituaries found what appears to be over 8,000 confirmed dead voters successfully casting mail-in ballots. There are other issues as well, and Sean Hannity had two postal workers who came on his TV show, one a truck driver, and neither man was affiliated with any political party. They explained how they drove a truck of signed ballots from Bethpage, New York to Lancaster and then Harrisburg, Pennsylvania on October 21st during early voting to be counted again. Driver Jesse Morgan said he saw 24 gaylords, or large cardboard containers of ballots, loaded into my trailer. These gaylords contained plastic trays. I call them totes, but trays will work, of ballots stacked on top of each other. All the envelopes were the same size. I could see the envelopes had handwritten return addresses. I could even tell that one was marked registered mail. He had to wait for 6 hours in Lancaster, and he was not allowed to offload the ballots. Then he was told to take the boxes to Harrisburg, but when Morgan requested a receipt showing he arrived and waited for so long in order to get paid, he was refused. No paper trail. Other whistleblowers claimed that up to 280.
There was a lot of this going on at the time. Everybody knew something was going down. They knew something wasn't right. It just didn't feel right. But these crazy liberals and these deep staters and these never Trumpers, they want power. That's the only thing that they seek is power. So by hook or crook, they will steal these elections, man. They've been doing it all over the world for years. What a lot of people don't know, and if y'all been paying attention to my channel and some of the things I talk about, we definitely have a new world order. We definitely have the powers that be that want to keep us in certain places and keep us entertained with football, basketball, news, fake news a lot of the time, knitting, gaming, every little entertainment under the sun to get you to not pay attention to what they're really doing. And that's ushering in a new agenda of how they want us to be. Basically a battery that they can drain your energy.
88,000 ballots disappeared, another 100,000 were improperly backdated, and mail promoting President Trump was junk while mail for Biden was delivered. Their report concluded, postal subcontractor Jesse Morgan on October 21st moved 144,000 to 288,000 completed mail-in ballots from Bethpage, New York to Lancaster, Pennsylvania, where his trailer holding the ballots disappeared. So, Biden beat Trump by more than 80,000 votes in Pennsylvania, far less than the estimated 200 to 280,000 already cast ballots transported from New York. And Trump had won Pennsylvania solid in 2016. Pennsylvania received $35 million from CTCL and the Center for Election Innovation and Research to expand unsecured voting locations where Democratic support is prevalent, according to the Foundation for Government Accountability.
Do you want your YouTube video to get discovered by a lot more people? If the answer is yes, then you should definitely try
It very well is, yes.
promotion.
In Arizona, which threatened to go for Trump, A.J. LaFaro, the chairman of the Maricopa County GOP, has been drumming up controversy by implying he witnessed voter fraud when an activist for the group.
But a lot of people were saying, coming forward and saying they were witnessing voter fraud or some just illegal activities or some crazy stuff that was going on. I knew just from the shit that happened in Georgia that shit was tricked up. They stopped the votes. How you stop the votes, counting the votes on election night? Are you kidding me? That right there should give you pause. That right there, it should give you pause. And then think, what the high hell is going on? You know, people that supported Trump was banging the drum or something went right. Something went right. But for the other side, if you want to defeat Trump by any means necessary, why wouldn't you?
Citizens for a Better Arizona dropped off some voters' completed ballots at the Maricopa County Elections Headquarters, which has some right-wing blogs going nuts. He stated, "I believe it's inconceivable, unacceptable, and should be illegal for groups to collect hundreds, if not thousands, of voters' ballots and return them to the elections offices or polling locations. And let's not forget the ballot parties that occurred where people gather en masse and give their unvoted ballots to operatives of organizations like Citizens for a Better Arizona so they can not only collect them, but vote them illegally. America used to be a nation of laws where one person had one vote. I'm sad to say, not anymore." The Secretary of State, the counties, and the state legislature passed some great election laws in 2013 that resulted in HB 2305, LaFaro writes. "I know because I testified at several of the hearings. What did the progressive, socialist, and militant groups cry after the laws were passed? Suppression and disenfranchisement of the Hispanic and minority voters et al., so they could force the repeal of HB 2305 and continue their voter fraud activities. Also, according to Bill Carrico, Arizona couldn't complete their audit of 2020 results that involved chasing a trail of missing records, given that data was withheld by non-cooperative people to the extent of ignoring subpoenas. It took Arizona weeks to count these votes. The only reason it would take that long is if they had to create ballots to make up the imbalance that supported Trump. Florida, with a much larger population, counted all of its votes within 24 hours. Only liberal locations."
Did you hear what he just said? You know, in Florida, they ain't have no problems. All them people that's in Florida and that's moving to Florida as we speak. Every day. I believe at the time they said it was like 1,000 people was moving to Florida every day. But they managed to get their elections done and accounted for in relatively a short time. What the hell was going on with the rest of everybody else?
Have trouble counting votes. In Atlanta, Georgia, which is part of Fulton County, attorney Rudy Giuliani and Team Trump presented a video in Atlanta on December 3rd, 2020, that shows ballots stuffing being done at the State Farm Center in Atlanta from 11 p.m. on November 3rd to 12:50 a.m. on November 4th, 2020. The election officials had all workers and watchers leave the State Farm Convention Center at approximately 10:30 p.m. on November 3rd, claiming a broken water pipe. There was apparently no broken water pipe.
I started with 7,000 followers, and just in 4 weeks, they grew my account to 8,800 followers.
Some election workers and officials remained after everybody else was kicked out. Ironically, the ones who remained were Democrats. Without any oversight to impede their progress, at approximately 11 p.m., these workers retrieved suitcases that had been concealed under a table. In the suitcases were ballots that they proceeded to put through Dominion counting machines.
Look, Do you see this? They talking about these Dominion machines. Everybody was saying these machines was tricked up. Everybody saying it was messed up and they shouldn't even use them. But they use them anyway. And these are the results.
Of interest, the table with the suitcases had been placed in the counting room at approximately 8:30 a.m. on November 3rd, with a tablecloth used to conceal the suitcases. After about 2 hours of stuffing all of the ballots through the counting machines, the workers called it a night and went home. Of interest, Trump was leading in the count by over 100,000 votes until this happened. The next day, Biden had received all the votes, throwing him over. The margin of victory in Georgia in 2020 was
How the high hell did that happen? Like I said before, they stopped the votes. They stopped the votes. That's crazy, man. But and then talk about some water main leak in Georgia. Come on, man. Come on, man. But at that time, like if I would have said this at that time, I might have been jailed. Because a lot of people was getting the pressure applied on them to shut up and take this. Because Trump is bad for the country. Even though everybody in their heart of hearts know that ain't true. Unless you're a liberal loony or somebody that just hates Trump and you didn't like him to begin with. But as far as I say about Trump, whether you like his personality or not, you gotta admit the policies he put forward was good for the country.
11,779 votes. In Georgia, underscoring the critical role any given category of election irregularities might play in determining the outcome, the estimated number of alleged deceased individuals, or ghost voters, casting votes almost exactly equals the Biden victory margin. A ghost voter is one who requests and submits a ballot under the name of a voter who no longer resides at the address where that voter was registered. These faulty counting machines were also used in the runoff for Senate in January 2021. In this article, voting machine vendor Dominion acknowledges their code was compromised in the 2020 elections and in the 2021 race as well. It should also be mentioned that many of those fraudulent ballots were not folded, meaning they were not mailed, and they did not come with envelopes, also proving not being mailed, with no postmarks or dates. There was no signature verification either, and many were believed to be copies of the same ballot. Despite the lawsuits filed by Dominion over Giuliani's claim that the voting machines could be manipulated to alter votes, a revelation came forth published by the Gateway Pundit that would have blown liberal minds if the information had not been suppressed by a corrupt liberal judge and Secretary of State. On February 10, 2021, Trump called the state attorney general, Raffensperger, in Georgia to locate just over 13,700 votes, the margin of victory. Knowing that thousands of ballots were in serious question, there were also concerns over the Dominion voting machines. In response, Georgia prosecutors opened a criminal investigation into Trump's efforts to subvert the election in Georgia. And now that politically motivated case is in serious jeopardy due to the illegal actions of Fulton County DA Fani Willis.
Funny. It's crazy, man. You know what's going on with her now, you know. Y'all do none of that.
As reported by Jeff Holt in the Gateway Pundit, on January 19, 2023, J. Alex Halderman demonstrated in court how Dominion machines are hacked and their tabulations were altered. It was also revealed that Georgia Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger had been hiding this report from the public for 2 years.
And that lets you know that's what it goes back to. The key to what I'm saying about being a Trump supporter, this guy is a Republican, right? you would think, okay, I'm a Republican, I'm on Trump's side, we want the best for the country. No. He don't want the best for you. That's goes to show you what a swamp, that's what Trump has been fighting against. Those are the real enemies. These rhino establishment Republicans that are bosom buddies and lockstep with the Democrat Party. They just got to play the opposition. It's playing the role, acting 101. Shout out John Robert Powell.
Years. University of Michigan professor of computer science and engineering J. Alex Haldeman and security researcher and assistant professor at Auburn University Drew Stringle collaborated on the report, where they discovered many exploitable vulnerabilities in the Dominion voting system's ImageCast X system. Haldeman displayed the ability to hack a Dominion voting tabulator in court in Georgia on January 19, 2023, using only a writing pen. Far-left judge Amy Totenberg sealed and covered up the results of the investigation of Dominion voting machines in Georgia and sat on the report, knowing full well Giuliani was being sued for telling the truth about the machines. The report confirmed what Trump and Giuliani asserted, that votes can be altered in the Dominion voting machines. In fact, the report revealed that the Dominion software is vulnerable and can easily be hacked. Georgia officials, as well as other liberal locations, refused to allow forensic examinations by independent investigators. Even the Trump-hating rhino Secretary of State Raffensperger hid this information from the public until forced to admit it in 2023. Now, I personally can't imagine why, but these people should be in jail.
Damn right.
Across the swing states, corrupt judges and prosecutors and the media held the line after 2020 to make sure no one was allowed to question or examine the integrity of actual ballots, inspect the voting machines, look at voter registration rolls, confirm signatures and addresses, lest they might substantiate tens of thousands citizen reports of fraud. In fact, several people who voted Republican at the polls in person or mailed in ballots checked their votes online and saw that they were listed as never even voting. Others found that their votes had been flipped to Democrat and even better.
Now, there's a lot of that reporting going on, that people that have voted Republican their whole life found out that their votes flipped to Democrat, and they family dead voter rolls. That's a main issue, a real big issue, dead voter rolls. Why don't they clear these dead voter rolls? I bet it's a big reason. We'll find out. I'll be proven right.
Better, several people complained that they received multiple mail-in ballots, and several spoken to even confirmed that some of their dead relatives had voted, some voting Democrat for the first time. The challenges went to state and federal courts, but the cases were not heard, despite the liberal media claiming that the charges were defeated in court. This was because there had been no investigation conducted to provide evidence, and corrupt or lazy judges and prosecutors made sure no one was allowed to question or examine the integrity of actual ballots, lest a premature certification be reversed, because that would be embarrassing. Also from Bill Carrico, I also found it suspicious that a law allows ballots from a federal election, which is held every 2 years, to be destroyed 2 months prior to the next election.
Bill Carrico, he had definitely an American hero. Even if they try to discredit him, he brought all this shit to the light. I'm going to tell y'all that right now.
It was chasing the originators of that law that led me to the congressional record of 1960, where I found the law was passed by LBJ, JFK, and Nixon a few months before JFK narrowly defeated Nixon for the presidency.
Big dental bills can often come as a shock. That's why affordable dental insurance from Physicians Mutual is important. It helps cover over 350 procedures.
Michigan had its own issues. and, like other Democrat locations, played games during the ballot counts.
There's a lot
Independent
of
and
stuff
opposition
going on
observers
in
were told to
Michigan,
stand as far back as 50 feet from the tables due to COVID and therefore not able to see what the ballot counters were doing. Several precincts actually banned observers from entering the buildings, and one video showed the Democrat ballot counters and party officials covering the windows with brown paper to stop anyone from looking inside as ballots were counted.
Now think about that, y'all. They were putting stuff on the windows, saying you can't come close. You can't do what you need to do to make sure the integrity of the election is in order. And people are criticizing you for that. That's crazy. That's banana republic stuff. But that's how desperate them people was in 2020. They know a full 8 years of Trump, like Joe Biden had said out his own mouth, will fundamentally change America forever. And I believe that. Now, it's all about the chess move. Trump only got 4 years, and he got to switch what Biden did. But pleasantly surprising to me that Biden didn't get rid of all of Trump's policies. You would think that you come in as a Democrat and get rid of all of them, but Trump is such a money maker that some of the policies that he implemented benefited Democrats in such a way that they couldn't resist to keep that going, just to keep that money coming in. Trump is brave. What they say, a stable genius. But I ain't giving y'all the game no more. Stop.
Postal subcontractor Nathan Peace was told by 2 separate postal workers on 2 separate occasions that the USPS in Wisconsin was gathering over 100,000 ballots on the morning of November 4th to backdate the ballots so that the ballots would be counted even if they arrived after the statutory deadline. Computer expert Gregory Stenstrom of Pennsylvania witnessed a vendor of Dominion machines and the local election officials download and update counting machines in violation of election system protocol and the commingling of machine jump drives in violation of election protocols and rendering audits impossible without direct forensic access to the machines. Another whistleblower claimed that ballots were backdated by postal workers, and in Traverse City, Michigan, Trump campaign mail was put in bins labeled undeliverable bulk business mail.
So basically, they trashed Trump voters and in favor of Biden voters. Delivered the Biden votes so they could be verified and trash the Trump votes. Did it under God and country.
While the same type of mail for Joe Biden was ordered to be delivered on time. The investigation by the Amistad Project uncovered potential flaws and fraud in ballots and voter registration of several states that have certified the election counts in favor of Biden. The group said that whistleblowers found that election officials in mostly Democratic areas manipulated ballots and
Look at this guy, Vernacki. Oh, he was hooting and hollering on election night. But I knew the fix was in because it was like, oh, Trump mail won if it was on election night. But unfortunately, we got all these mail-in ballots that got to come in. So they had to know exactly what they needed to steal the election. And they're still going to explain to me how Joe Biden got more votes than Obama.
campaign mail, potentially influencing the outcome. The whistleblower accounts released today detail the failure of election officials in blue jurisdictions to maintain ballot chain of custody, allowing for the potential infusion of fraudulent ballots. These accounts include photographs of individuals improperly accessing voting machines and a detailed eyewitness account of the breaking of sealed boxes of ballot jump drives and commingling of those jump drives with others, said the legal outfit. It added, the accounts also reveal multi-state illegal efforts.
That's why they was in panic mode. Panic mode. They were the flying fugazi where was going to get all these votes from. But you know, that's going to be the ultimately, in my opinion, just in my opinion, that's going to be the ultimate seal of their doom, because they really didn't know how many votes they had to steal to win that election. Most of the time, when these people steal these elections, they know how many votes they need to steal it and make it look in the way you say, okay, yeah, that's legit. You down by hundreds of thousands of votes really means millions. And all of a sudden you pop to the forefront. Sorry. Proof of that today. Al Sharpton, which can't even go in the hoods no more, held an event. And black folks was like, hell no, I'm not voting with Joe Biden. Ah, shit. But really, we gotta pay attention to what these people doing, y'all.
Efforts by USPS workers to influence the election in at least 3 of 6 swing states. Details include potentially hundreds of thousands of completed absentee ballots being transported across 3 state lines and a trailer filled with ballots disappearing in Pennsylvania. This referred to Moore, who drove the trailer to Pennsylvania from New York. According to the deep state Marxists and their media platforms, Biden won the election on November 3rd, receiving 81.3 million votes, or 51.3%, to Trump's 74.2 million, or 46.8%, and 306 Electoral College votes to Trump's 232. The problem was that there were no reported errors in counting ballots that favored Trump. However, long before the election, the deep state Department of Justice, including the FBI as well as the IRS, were covering for the Biden.
Now, okay, I'm a Trump supporter, right? But if you want to say anything, and I love if I talk to Trump ever personally in my lifetime, or if I ever see him or talk to him, I would ask him what was behind your decision to be hands off with the Department of Justice. Who was in your ear to say, nah, just let them go along the way it was? You affected every part of government and every other part of your presidency, but you purposely decided to say, I'm gonna be hands off on the Department of Justice. You said that. And I think that was me as a Trump supporter, a supporter of Trump. I think that was his fatal flaw, that he did not dismantle the Department of Justice.
Biden crime family. Here is how they influenced the election. The following information is courtesy of Bill Carrico and Miranda Devine. On April 12, 2019, Hunter Biden dropped off his laptop at a repair shop in Wilmington, Delaware. The shop owner, Mac Isaac, confirmed with a signed receipt that Hunter Biden signed a repair authorization and dropped off an unbootable laptop, asking for its data to be recovered and saved on an external device. The criminal actions on that laptop were withheld from the American public for a full year during the campaigns and election. The Deep State Justice Department and FBI, as well as the treasonous 51 former intelligence heads, lied when they stated that it has all the hallmarks of Russian disinformation. Joe Biden denied.
Now, notice everything at that time was Russian disinformation. Anything that come true about what they was doing was Russian disinformation. Meaning, we are slick as a can of oil, and we're going to do what we want to do, and you can't do a damn thing about
the validity of the laptop, and he denied the allegations of illegally accepting foreign money to the American public during the debate with Trump. Surveys show that between 20 to 25% of Democrat voters would not have voted for Biden had they known then what they know now. That survey does not include the opinions of the dead who voted, who were unavailable for comment. Getting back to the aftermath of the election, citing Bill Carrico, covering up a rigged election requires preventing actual ballots from being examined because fake ballots are relatively easy to spot. For example, election auditors could examine ballots to determine not just if they came from a copier, but if they were printed on a different stock of paper, or if they were a legitimate paper but weren't marked by ink from a voter's hand, or if they haven't been folded and placed in an absentee ballot envelope for mailing. Finding any one of these is proof of fraud. Regarding the events in Fulton County, Georgia, I again present Bill Carrico, who stated, "Evidence of fraud can be easily gathered, which is why corrupt judges would not allow ballots to be examined." I attended a Fulton County, Georgia.
You got to consider Bill Carrico a hero, man. He was one of the main ones exposing that bull. You know what I'm saying? Unfortunately, I don't know what happened to him. I ain't doing no research on him. But he was one of the main ones at that time pointed out. And what happened? A lot of these people get prosecuted for that. That lets you know that deep state is real.
Hearing online, where plaintiffs were requesting permission to examine a portion of the ballots. Early on, Judge Brian Amaro stated he would consider having copies of the ballots made for the plaintiffs to examine. This is insane.
Are you kidding me? Copies? So we can't verify the actual real ballots, but we give you a copy of it.
Logically, it's the equivalent of hindering Treasury agents by only allowing them to examine photocopies of counterfeit money rather than original counterfeit bills.